Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. WordPress Freedom Day 2018. Fake news key concern in Asia. Threats and online trolling worsens for journalists in India. Indonesia sees increasing attacks on free speech. Bangladesh ranked lowest in Press Freedom Index in South Asia. Reporters Without Borders Regional Analysis of Asia. Urgent appeal from Indonesia. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Alexandra. This week, Just Asia focuses on WordPress Freedom Day, marked annually on May 3rd. The day celebrates the fundamental principles of press freedom and pays tribute to journalists who have lost their lives in the exercise of their profession. Most recently, 9 journalists were killed in Afghanistan after rushing to report on a suicide blast by 2 Islamic State bombers on April 30th. A total of 25 people were killed. On WordPress Freedom Day 2018, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, "I call on governments to strengthen press freedom and to protect journalists. Promoting a free press is standing up for our rights to truth." The theme for this year is Keeping Power in Check. It highlights the importance of an enabling legal environment for press freedom and gives special attention to the role of an independent judiciary in ensuring legal guarantees for press freedom and the prosecution of crimes against journalists. It also draws attention to legislative gaps with regard to press freedom of expression and information online, and the risk of regulating online speech. One of the key issues relating to press freedom in Asia, says Basil Fernando, Director of Policy and Program Development at the Asian Human Rights Commission, is a lack of truthful reporting on areas of key concern to ordinary people and their lives. Not only does the current trend of fake news violate people's right to information and truth, but it is also being used by leaders and governments to further restrict free speech. While proponents of such fake news are misleading their audience, governments are calling any critical reporting of their policies fake news and working to legislate sanction against such fake news.
As the World Press Freedom Day is being celebrated, what we see throughout the world and in almost all countries of Asia is that the people do not get the benefit of free press, which gives them information which is accurate and truthful. With the development of mass media with modern technologies, one of the experiences that people are facing everywhere is that there is more the lie, the subterfuge and misleading of information than access to the real data and factual information about things that matter to the people most. Highly organized misinformation activities have taken the place of the free press. Throughout the world, the actual manner in which people's livelihoods are being stolen, people lose their rights into the most basic things such as health, education, healthcare, and respect for the dignity of individual persons, both of male and female sexes. We are not seeing progress. Instead, we see a huge amount of misinformation with which the average person is very severely confused with. The stress on the Press Freedom Day has to be on freedom. Freedom to know the truth, the freedom to have the real information, and freedom to not to be misled. All these areas have become highly problematic, and therefore today it is the duty of the press itself, the people who are journalists, who are newsmakers of various sorts under various mediums, to examine their consciences as to whether they have become entertainers or misleaders of through their profession rather than people who bring fresh information, so that people could make up their minds on the basis of actual facts and lead their lives in a peaceful manner.
India fell 2 more places in this year's World Press Freedom Index to 138, just 1 place ahead of Pakistan. This indicates that the reality for journalists and others in India has worsened, especially for those reporting on controversial issues. This year's UN theme for World Press Freedom Day, Keeping Power in Check, Media, Justice and the Rule of Law, is of particular significance in India, which has been considerable backlash against reporters and news outlets dealing with particular topics. Recently, the central government moved guidelines to punish fake news with strict penalties. But the move was met with criticism for failing to clarify what fake news was and for only targeting accredited journalists, leading to its withdrawal. The past year saw the murder of Gauri Lankesh, a journalist who was staunchly anti-right-wing in her writing, as well as incessant and violent trolling online of journalists and activists expressing views against the ruling party, government or majoritarian ideology. India needs to carefully think about how it can begin to improve press freedom, especially when most of the news is now online. Next, Indonesia is seeing increased attacks against freedom of expression, affecting both journalists and media outlets. According to the Alliance of Independent Journalists, a total of 72 cases of violence against journalists occurred from May 2016 to April 2017. Most recently, the right-wing Islamic Defenders Front protested against Tempo magazine and forced the magazine to apologize for allegedly insulting their leader in their publication. In another instance, a journalist from Benton Post, Mr. Panji Bahari, was brutally attacked and arrested by police officers of Serang City Police Office. The growing trend of assaults involving civilians is the result of an absence of law enforcement. Furthermore, the 8 high-profile murders of journalists from 1996 to 2010 remain resolved even today. Several Indonesian laws also fall foul of international human rights standards, such as the Electronic Information and Transactions Law and oversight of the broadcasting sector, the political domination of media outlets, which undermines editorial independence, is also a cause for concern. Another cause for concern is the situation of press freedom in Papua, where international journalists still face many bureaucratic hurdles to obtain visiting permits. In the rare instances where access is granted, journalists are accompanied by government and security officials. Meanwhile, violence and intimidation against local journalists remain facts of life in Papua. Just Asia speaks to journalist Mr. Suwarjono for more information.
Aji mengutuk keras kasus kekerasan yang dialami para jurnalis saat meliput di lapangan. Apa yang mereka lakukan saat ini adalah bagian dari tugas seorang jurnalis untuk memberitakan, meliput peristiwa, dan melaporkan kepada masyarakat. Dan siapapun pelaku kekerasan itu atau intimidasi atau melakukan pemukulan adalah pelanggaran atas Undang-Undang Pers, Undang-Undang Nomor 40 Tahun 99, di mana ada pasal ancaman di situ. Mereka pelaku kekerasan bisa dihukum penjara 2 tahun atau denda 500 juta rupiah. Dan ini saya kira waktunya kita harus tegakkan, sehingga harapannya adalah di masa yang akan datang tidak terulang kembali. Karena apa? Kalau setiap kasus kekerasan didiamkan, apalagi tidak pernah diusut, seakan-akan membenarkan kalau kita tidak setuju dengan sebuah pemberitaan, tidak setuju dengan media A, media B, kemudian bisa melakukan segala cara termasuk dengan kekerasan, intimidasi, atau menghalang-halangi kerja mereka. Nah, ini yang saya kira tidak bisa dibenarkan. Dan saya mendorong kepada teman-teman di berbagai media untuk kasus-kasus seperti ini ke depan, ketika meliput kita tidak usah menggunakan atribut dari media A, media B, media C. Ini untuk keselamatan kita, para jurnalis. Namun demikian, sebetulnya persoalannya bukan situ. Sebetulnya memang harapannya adalah bahwa kita semua itu bisa meliput di lapangan secara bebas tanpa ada rasa takut. Bahkan ketika kita menggunakan atribut media A, B, media C, D, itu adalah hal yang wajar karena itu mencerminkan jati diri kita. Tapi ketika kemudian ada ancaman, itu yang kita juga bisa hindari. Nah, saya mendesak kepada kepolisian untuk mengusut tuntas kasus ini supaya tidak terus terulang, karena ini untuk kesekian kalinya selalu terjadi hal yang sama dan problemnya juga hal yang sama lagi. Nah, untuk ke sana ini perlu dari teman-teman media yang menjadi korban, termasuk jurnalisnya, memproses hukum dengan melaporkan ke kepolisian. Nah, saya berharap teman-teman yang menjadi korban itu berani melaporkan, sehingga polisi punya akses untuk mengusut, untuk memanggil, bahkan kalau perlu nanti menjadikan tersangka siapa pelaku-pelakunya dan bisa dibawa ke pengadilan. Harapannya adalah kalau kasus ini dibawa ke pengadilan, masyarakat akan tahu, oh kalau saya menyerang, mengintimidasi, itu melanggar undang-undang, oh itu berarti salah, saya bisa dihukum seperti dia. Nah, ini harapannya seperti itu. Karena kalau itu tidak pernah kita lakukan, meskipun kita punya undang-undang, punya merasa dilindungi, tapi aslinya tidak terlindungi. Karena tidak ada follow up, tidak ada tindak lanjut, tidak ada penegakan hukum.
Moving to Bangladesh, press freedom is consistently curtailed by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government. As a result, Bangladesh ranks 146 out of 180 countries in the World Press Freedom Index, lowest among South Asian countries. According to documentation by AHRC, the local partner of the Asian Human Rights Commission, 15 journalists were killed under the incumbent government from January 2009 to April 2018. During the same period, 928 journalists were injured, 284 assaulted, 350 threatened, and 82 attacked while they were performing their professional duties. During this time, 211 journalists were sued and 26 were arrested. The absence of democracy under the current government encourages the trend of curtailing people's right to freedom of expression and opinion. According to Reporters Without Borders regional analysis of the Asian region, the majority of Asian countries are doing badly when it comes to press freedom. China, Cambodia, and Vietnam continue to severely restrict media outlets, arresting and imprisoning many journalists. Burma is taking the same route, with 2 Reuters reporters currently detained for reporting on a massacre during the crackdown against Rohingya in Rakhine State. Journalists in the Philippines are also facing threats and abuse under President Duterte, particularly those reporting on the drug war. Pakistan continues to be one of the most dangerous countries for journalists, with disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and harassment for all those criticizing the government, military, or fundamentalists. Finally, the Urgent Appeals Weekly features one case from Indonesia, where a resident of Pandan province has been criminally charged with spreading hate speech and racism through his Facebook entries. He has been detained in Pandeglang prison from 1st of December 2017 until now. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on this and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.